Esther and Anna's Swiss holidays, alphorn in the background, a holiday that we enjoyed so much the last 10 days, some videos and some pictures to give you an idea of what it was like. We drove through the night and arrived in the rain, but very quickly the sun came out in Lucerne. This is the famous bridge and the ferry and the steamers on the lake. We were off to the Transport Museum. There's a couple of bits of old train, or one carriage, one train, steam train. Wonderful place to go. We enjoyed it so much. This is a cut-out version of a steam railway, how they use the steam railways and the cogs to go up the mountains on their famous railways.
Through the blast pipe in the smoke box. Number 7, and up the chimney, drawing the hot gases through the fire tubes. This creates the draft that makes the briquettes burn in the firebox. Each blast of exhaust steam makes the locomotive's characteristic noise and produces the rhythmical wreaths of steam and smoke. Now the exhaust steam from the high-pressure cylinder is not passing directly to the chimney. It's diverted to a second
When the demonstrator knew that we were English, he was so keen to put the English version of the commentary on and show how it all works. Same principle applies in all their mountain railways. On the Monday morning we went up the famous little Fallhorn cable car. This is what it's like at the bottom, looking up into the mountains. We'd been there with our own children. This is a view looking down from the cable car to the station. You go up to a restaurant. That is the back of the famous Mount Titlis and the red and white markers which you follow on walks in Switzerland. Here's Rachel and the girls on that walk, 11 kilometers plus. We turn, go to this waterfall which is beautiful, and then turn and make your way quite steeply down back to the station, the cable car. Beautiful butterfly to see. Here they are all walking down the path. They bought some alpine cheese there, and here is the little cable car getting back to its station. Next day the Trubsay, in that green area right at the end there, is Horbis, which is where our chalet was. From the same view almost, you've got Titlis up on the glacier with Stan. That's up and that's down. These are the alphorns that we've recorded. They played 4 pieces. They'd been up on the mountain that morning to play. The lady in the middle comes from Reading and was fascinated and let us all have a go on her alphorn, and was delighted to talk to Esther and Anna about their music, realising the level at which they played. We did this sort of impromptu concert in the big hotel restaurant at Trumellbach. Around the wake to this wonderful waterfall. You could walk up around the side of it, and there's the girls did that. That's them waving from the top. Beautiful harebells around. There were marmots there. There's one sitting, and there's been one running in a minute that we found in the grass there. They had a burrow, and that is the view from our chalet balcony out on the nice sunny day. That was the next day. We went to Horbis, Ristis, which is uphill, where the girls went on the rodel Bahn, the stainless steel toboggan run that you can use in dry weather in the summer. They go quite quickly. You get a little toboggan, and it does have a brake if you need to use it. I confess I did. Here they come. Anna first. See the beautiful weather. And here comes Esther. There's a big gap between us. I've edited it. We found the grasshopper there, quite a lot of them around. And these are the famous yellow signs with the red and white markings that you follow. And that's us walking back down to Engelberg. That beautiful mountains around, and our chalet is to the below and to the left of it. And for once you could see the Titlis cable car station right at the very top. It was not in the cloud, and that's the cable car we'd been up on coming down. Black red star, quite common around there. There were some that we could manage to take our own photographs that near. Next day, the Thursday, off to Lucerne on the train out of Engelberg, which takes you down to Lucerne, and then on the steamer. That's the famous waterfront at Lucerne, on Lake Lucerne, actually just opposite there, and the steamers, there's the paddles, the operation, all oil-fired these days, and the rowing people remind us of Hannah, who was the rower. They do row at Lucerne, and that's the paddle steamer coming in to take us back to Lucerne, and these wonderful hotels that they've built along there. Witz now is where the famous Rigi Bahn, one of the very early mountain railway, starts, and again another stunning hotel on the shores of Lake Lucerne. Sailing boats, lots of boats, it's a big lake and people enjoying themselves. Another paddle steamer, there have got 5 of them altogether which run, and that's a beautiful picture to give you an idea of the colour of the lake and the scenery, and the famous Swiss flag which flies on the back of all their boats. That's the End of the World Hotel, which is just very near where we our chalet was, where we went for a meal on the last evening. And you can see the yellow arrow, the End of the World behind there, the hotel on the right, and that's where our chalet was, and a little white chapel in front. Next day, the Saturday, we left. We went on the Brienzer steam railway, Brienzer Rotohorn Bahn. Here, the steam trains all getting ready. We arrived early. We'd pre-booked before we went, so no problem with tickets. There's a couple of the trains getting ready to come into to take us up. They needed 2 trains to take all the people. Lake Brienz, you get beautiful views of the lake as the train goes higher and higher. The inevitable need to stop to fill up. We think that may be water, but it could have been oil as well. Here's a video of what it's like to actually be on the train. This is looking backwards. They push the carriages up the hill, and you can see this complicated steering system of the steam that works to not only drive the engine up, but also to engage the cogs in the middle. This is looking uphill. 2 carriages on this one. This is one of the bigger engines, one of the newer ones, and as you get higher, you get better views of the mountains and the lake, even higher still. It goes up much higher beyond the view, so there we are, that's the lake almost up to the top. So cloudy on the top, so we didn't stay there, we hadn't got much time. This is coming down, you can see the cloud, and this is the sheer drop along the side of the railway, and again the cogs taking us down, takes much longer to come down because it has to go slowly. Again, you can see lots of tunnels, so this is like into a tunnel where you can just about see what's going on. It takes 50 an hour to go up, and an hour and 10 minutes to come down. This is the train exiting the tunnel. All built in 1880 something. Here's a view out of the window, even with the carriage next to the engine, so you get a really good shot of all of the gears and pumps and steam and pistons and cylinders, and it's all working to make this engine now go downhill. They have diesel ones as well that they built some years ago. Here's another train being pushed up there. This is a bit of an ugly looking diesel, but at least we get through to the top to get through to the view. One single carriageway going up there. They have more steam engines, so on the way down these steam engines were coming up as well. The more modern carriages. We've stopped at one of the parking places, pretty full of people. There's one of the new bigger steam engines, number 16, pushing up.
I think this one's only got one carriage on it.
And you find this is one of the really old ones?
It's only got a single carriage, guys.
It's got one carriage.
It's only got a single carriage, guys.
These are the old-fashioned carriages that were designed, all being replaced on most of the railways, but they still use them because it's historic. You can see the black smoke coming out as this engine works really hard to push it up the mountain. You see how much smaller the engine is than the modern one. So this is one carriage. Take number 5. That's a picture of Lake Brienz. I took one almost the same when we took our children sort of 30 odd years ago. And that looks from the railway down across the lake. The next day we went to Wengen to go up on the cable car to Wengen, to Mannlichen to do the walk, even though it was cold. That's the Bernerhof Hotel that Hannah and Joe and Sue and I stayed at many, many years ago when we first skied in Switzerland. And this is on the top of Mannlichen, 2,200 metres, and there were about 100 alphorns gathered. It was their national week, and these were a special gathering. We don't know why. Lots of people in their national costume, black and white. The cloud came over when they started. You can see them waving their Swiss flags. The yellow and red one is the Bernese Oberland one, which relates to the canton in which all of these mountains are. This is all in the shade really of the north face of the Eiger and the Jungfrau, which you'll see the Eiger a little bit later on. It actually appeared. So this is their 100 alphorns. Better zoom in, you can see them all there on the ground in front. They really do work for the cows. The lady from Reading told us she tried it in England and the cows just come and listen. There were cows even there coming around listening. It works. And you can see everybody in that circle has got an alphorn. Cloud cleared, became much clearer. It was meant to have had thunderstorms, and yet we walked, and apart from a few drops of rain, it was 3 degrees on the top down to 4 degrees at the end. And we walked it in shorts, but it was absolutely fine. Such fun. Along beautiful alpine flowers that you can see, the harebells, other things in the background, this fascinating shaped one. There's the north face of the Eiger, which appeared in spite of the fact the weather was meant to be bad, and these are the famous gentians. There weren't many out, but we found these ones, and this is the walk nearly finished. In the middle, more or less, you've got the Kleine Scheidegg Hotel. And this on the way down is the train which shows you the Lauterbrunnen Valley, up the valley to the Trumellbach Falls, the glacial melt from the Jungfrau, Eiger, those glaciers all comes down through one channel, 20,000 litres per second maximum, and there's a lift really, or like a little funicular that goes up very steeply within the mountain, and this is the ride on it, and it will push you up in the mountain so that you're about halfway up, and then you've got lots and lots of steps to climb to get right to the top even after the lift. And happily, both Sue's heart and my heart had absolutely no problem climbing the probably 150 steps right to the very top floor once you come out of the lift. And then you walk all the way down taking pictures. The odd picture of the falls, but mainly video. And some of the falls, the better ones, there's the big hole for which it all comes down. That's through to the above the rock. And here's the sort of waterfall that comes down. This is the picture. Video sounds beautiful. You get the noise. Another picture of another fall, and then you get the video hopefully in a moment. The noise is amazing. You walk down and you encounter the falls in different places so you can see them. Narrows, the walls you can see how smooth the rock is. And lots of potential echoes of the water running through. Over there. Another outlet in the bottom and it pours out again to another waterfall. Maybe towards the bottom. A bit dark and not so easy to video and sound a lot, but this is towards the end. See how smooth the rock is. Sometimes it's much more watery. Or just the glacier melt, so you get water coming. Very interesting. Lovely blue water here. That colour is clean and beautiful. Here's the end. We drove back to Calais and we were met with this beautiful sunset as we got on the ferry, Irish ferry, to go back to Dover. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Esther and Anna's lovely Swiss